So one of the pieces on the Feral Atlas website is a piece that you wrote called A View from a Patch, toward a material phenomenology of climate change. And you start from your own place and location there in Arizona. And it was written sort of on the cusp, I believe, of the pandemic, when perhaps things were going into lockdown. We're having this massive wildfire crisis. And you frame that article, from that vantage point around this conceptual, theoretical construct of material phenomenology. And I'm wondering how material phenomenology can function as a pedagogical theoretical construct to make sense of location and also these broader sort of environmental processes.
So I would hope I would hope that I think a way to think about the question of material phenomenology, I guess we could start from a theory in, or from like the sort of grounding of the concept out. But I think one of the things that piece was meant to sort of bring home, and also to help me think through, is that at this point in time, we all have situated knowledge of climate change. It's something that we've all experienced in one way or another, if we're alive at this moment in time, and we've each experienced it from a patch of space on the Earth. That space around us that we can see and that we experience regularly. And for some of us, that's a lot of different patches of space, and for some of us, that's a very grounded patch. But I think one of the things that sort of, to me at least, becomes important when I think about a situated experience of climate change, or situated knowledge of climate change, is to think about the fact that intersects with all these other forms of my experience as a human. It intersects with my concerns about my employment. It intersects with my concerns about the health of my children. Also with where we live here in Flagstaff, the major sort of potential environmental impact of climate change. There are many, but the one that is sort of the most frightening is wildfire. We live in this beautiful city that has trees interspersed throughout it, but there's a very real possibility in a dry year that a city like that could have a wildfire rip right through it. So I think what is potentially, what I would hope would be the utility of an approach like that, and I should say it's, I'm not the only anthropologist that would talk about climate change in these ways, but what I would hope would be the utility of an approach like that is to get people thinking about like a sort of toes in the dirt approach to understanding what climate change means. So it's not necessarily something that you define only by level of carbon emissions or by degrees temperature rise calculated year on year. Those kinds of sort of abstract like planetary patterns, but actually something that that you can experience in a way that that both validates your own experience and really considers specific impacts in a specific place.